Hi, in this video I'm going to demonstrate a new feature in JTLanguage, my free and cooperative website and phone apps for studying languages. We're here in the media player for JTLanguage, and we're looking at a lesson that I created by referencing a YouTube video and uploading the subtitles. Now, if you want more information about the media player and its many features, you can check out my introductory videos on the JTLanguage website. Today we'll just be looking at these 4 new buttons which implement a looping/chorusing feature. First, let's advance in the video using the single step to get to a sentence I can use for demonstration. I'll pick a shorter sentence.
However, 今は僕話せるようにとっても苦手でした。
Now at this point, you could just
とっても苦手でした。
press the repeat button to just confirm that you've got a good sentence. You probably want to pick sentences, that don't have a lot of pauses and so forth, and that have a reasonably good pronunciation. So this first button here, this will basically just loop that single sentence.
とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。
And if you want to pause it, you hit the pause button. Don't hit the stop because that'll take you to the beginning of the video. So the first button just repeats it at normal volume and normal speed. There is a limit to how long we'll do this, which is programmable. By default, it will play the audio for 45 seconds, regardless how long each individual sentence is. Or you can set it up to just play a certain number of iterations. This is done in the settings page, which I will show you later. The next button, it's elongated, kind of giving you the hint that it will play the loop slower.
とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。
It's what I found, and I couldn't really keep up with native Japanese speakers, especially if it's a longer sentence. So I can practice it at a slower speed first, and then I can hopefully do the normal speed. As an alternative, if you change the rate here, you can set it to 75, and then just do the normal looping button,
とっても苦手でした。
which would be just slightly
とっても苦
slower.
手でした。とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手。
Now, these other 2 buttons, they have the little blue triangle in the middle. That's to give you a hint that it will reduce the volume after each iteration. Now, in the real chorusing mechanism, typically you do pairs of listening to the repetitions and then following after the native speaker, and you do that multiple times, and each time you reduce the volume while you're repeating, so that eventually you're hearing yourself a lot more. I modified this a bit by basically having these buttons reduce the volume after each iteration. So I can try it at the slower speed.
とっても苦手でした。
とっても苦手でした. But this is such a short sentence, I could probably keep up.
とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。
And so on. Now, for the settings, you can basically use the home settings menu, or I put a shortcut down here that'll take you directly to the settings page. And you have these 5 settings which have to do with the chorusing looping. The audio loop count will specify how many times to repeat the sentence. If it's -1, that means it's not going to have a count limit. The next field here, audio loop duration, will give the number of seconds it will do the repeating, regardless how long the individual sentence is. By default, this is 45 seconds. I've shortened it for the purpose of this demonstration. The audio silence between iterations lets you basically put some silence between the iterations in case they're too close together. And these next 2 fields will let you specify a factor that will multiply the current volume. Like for the start volume, that's when at what volume the chorusing will start, 1 being like at the current volume, and 0 will be basically silence. So going back to that sentence, if I do this one,
とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。
and so you see it went all the way to silence according to the settings. And note that you can have different subtitles, like you can show all the languages you've specified. And you also have the hover over definitions, which I'll be demonstrating in another video. Okay, this chorusing is not only here, you also have it available in the flashcards. For example, let's go to the flashcards. This is one of a number of tools. This is one of a number of tools that I have here. I was already here before, so it's showing both card sites for this. I've set up a special profile via the website for a use for the chorusing, which just shows the Japanese and the English. The front side shows the English, and the back side will show just the kanji and the media. It will automatically play the media. And in the lesson, when I uploaded the subtitles, I basically told it to divide it up into groups of 10 sentences. So it actually creates kind of some sub-study lists here. Because going through 10 sentences actually takes a while. You don't have to do this though, but it helps you to keep your place. For example, the flashcards, they might go, they'll be, if you're random, they'll be all over the place. I've set the mode to basically just go forward and not use the spaced repetition. So one thing I didn't really point out in the media player, which also works here, is that with the word click features option set here, this is another feature that I'll explain in another video. If you hover over a word, it will basically show you the definition. And if you click on the word, it will show the same thing, but some buttons for additional options. Just scroll up a little bit. So by default, when you go to one of the pages, it will collect all the vocabulary from the page. For example, in the text, it previously, when you created the lesson, it automatically parsed the words for you. And by default, when it collects the words for this sort of mechanism, it will show the first definition, which hopefully is the most common one. But there can be other definitions as well, which it separates into a separate section. And you can disable that section. And also a new feature I added are the character definitions here, which uses some information somebody typed in from the Remembering the Kanji book, which will show you the English keywords for the names of the character and the components in the character. Now, I won't go into all the explanation of this because I'm going to be doing it in another video, but basically you have like say when you go into the sentences, first of course you want to make sure that you know all the characters, know all the words and characters, and so the pop-up will help you do that. And then you can play the sentence at normal speed, or if you want, you can play it at slow speed and really listen. Maybe even say it along with it. And then when you feel you're ready for the chorusing, you can do the chorusing either fast or slow. Since this is a short sentence, maybe I can keep up with the faster chorusing. And so forth. And finally, you also have the chorusing option in just the regular display of the study list. By default, I have it disabled, so if you go down to the content options, you select show looping options, and that will show the additional buttons, and you can do the looping here.
とっても苦手でした。とっても苦手でした。
And that is the new chorusing feature. Thanks.